What's up, mansion builders? In this episode, I'm going to give you some strategies and some techniques to raise money from investors. And I think of it as like a bottleneck. There's some type of pain point. There's some place where people get stuck. They're not good at it. They don't have the right tools together. They're taking the wrong approach or deal structure, and they can't find an investor. There's plenty of money out there. There is plenty of investors for an amazing assisted living kind of deal. It's just identifying why you are stuck. Why are you not able to close these investors? So let's dive into it. Let's look at the series of events and find out where are you potentially getting stuck. So in my mind, I organize this in 6 different steps. And I'm gonna walk through them one step at a time because each one of these things you might be doing great at, you might have it all dialed in, or you might be stuck at this place. But here's the first one, it's your tools. It's the stuff that you do ahead of time, right? Your homework, you're getting your stuff together. So for me, there's 4 different things when I go to present to an investor. That's my tools. And that is my business plan. I wanna have my business plan dialed in. Then there's my financials. I wanna have a fantastic performer where I can show in depth, slide by slide by slide. Here's how everything works. Here's my expenses. Here's my income. Here's my worst case scenario. Here's my break even number. Here is what it's going to look like when I'm stabilized. Here's my exit play. Here's how much money I need. Here's when you get your money back, how you get your money back, what all your return on investment is, all of those kind of things. I want it super, super detailed and dialed in. The third thing are my plans. I want to be able to show them my architectural plans, my structural plans, my MVP plans, my civil plans. And sometimes you might not have all of those things together, but if you can start with some floor plans, some architectural stuff, here's my mansion, here's the building, here's the layout. This is why this is the best of the best. This is why it's incredible. And I'm solving all of these problems of the big smelly facility versus the dinky little RAL. This is where our place is in the market. And the fourth thing is my renderings. That's my elevations. I want to show them, here's what my mansions look like. This is what my product's going to be. I'm building this. It's going to look just like this. It's going to sit on this piece of property over here. It's going to have this kind of feel. I am building one here. Here's the next door neighbor project that I'm doing right over here. It's going to look and feel like this. You might have exterior renderings. You might also bring in interior renderings as well. And this is really, really important. I want to stress how important this is because this is what they are looking at. You have a vision for what you're going to create and it's amazing in your mind, but you can't show them that, right? Like you can't put that into words. You need to show them these things. You need to show them the physical numbers. You need to show them what the vision looks like for the building. Maybe you have a rough draft site plan and saying, hey, here's what it's going to look like. You need to take what is in your mind and express it to them. And that has to be done well. And you actually have to spend some money to do this if you want to do it well, right? Some of these things cost, a couple grand, excluding the architectural plans, which can be much, much more than that kind of stuff. But I want to stress that this is the first bottleneck that people have. You can't raise money because people don't understand what you want to do. End of life and assisted living care is confusing. There's all these different things with independent versus nursing homes. What do I do? Where are you on this place? Do you have to have a license? Do you have to have doctors and nurses on there? And a confused mind says no. So the more upfront homework that you can do, the more money, honestly, that you can put into this by hiring professional people to come on and build out your tools for you, the easier it gets. When you have amazing tools and you set everything down and you're just like, look, here's my numbers. They're amazing numbers, right? And then you say, hey, you know what? Here's our renderings. Here's what the buildings look like on the outside. And then you flip over and you show, here's my architectural plans. Everything's ready to go. We're ready to build this thing, right? This is what it looks like. Here's the private rooms. Look how big they are. They have their own suite. They have their own bathroom. Look at our great room. Look at this floor to ceiling foot window walls. They're 22 feet high of glass. It's going to be the most gorgeous thing in the entire city. Here's what my comparables are showing. My comparables are this big smelly facility over here, and they're charging, $8,000 or $9,000 or $7,000, whatever it is. I know we can at least get that, and here's what our profit looks like. Boom, all of your stuff dialed in. Man, you are really getting some interest. You are getting investors excited about this, right? And this is where I think you need to start with your attention. If you are not even getting to this place where investors are excited about this, then you know what? You probably need to start by investing time and money in your tools. The second thing that may be a holdup for you is the deal structure. What kind of deal are you actually putting together? Is the deal too small? And this is where I see a lot of people having trouble raising money for the RAL method. They're trying to do a 6-bed, an 8-bed, a 10-bed, and then they're showing them the financials, right? They have some tools, they put it together and it's like, hey, well, when we have 100% occupancy, we make $7,000 a month, but there's no budget in here for a chef and for a manager. And it's like, well, it looks like I'm gonna be working around the clock, but you know what? I can get my 3-pack. In 3 or 4 years, I can build 2 more of these and then we'll make decent money at 100% occupancy. And they're gonna look at these numbers like, I don't really trust these numbers, right? I know that business is not that simple and not that easy, and there doesn't seem to be a worst case scenario kind of play, in here. So really start with that deal structure. If you're having trouble raising money, maybe it's because your deal is not very good. If you brought to me an amazing deal that had millions of dollars in equity and you made 40 plus grand a month, that's awesome, right? I'm excited for that. I think that's an amazing deal structure. But the second part of that question is, how do I or your potential investor, how do they see this, right? What kind of cut are they getting? Because you may have an awesome home run deal, but you may be asking for them to personally guarantee. You may be asking for, too little equity on their side, or, too low of a win on their side. And if you're coming in with just like this little thing, I want you to come and invest this much money, you're gonna have 4 or 5%. That's not exciting to me, right? If I was your potential investor, I'd be like, 4 or 5%, I think I can find something else to do with my money, right? Or if you wanted me to sign on the dotted line and put my house up as collateral, put some other things up as collateral, right? If you screwed up, because I'm a passive investor and I have to come up with the worst case scenario money and sell my house or whatever it is to liquidate my assets to cover this deal, that's not a good deal structure that I want as an investor, right? You're not rewarding me proportionately for the risk and the capital I'm putting on. So consider that, right? If you got your tools together, people are excited about it, and then you share what it is and they're like, that's not really a great deal, right? That does not really sound exciting to me, or that doesn't sound like a good fit. It may be because your deal structure needs to be adjusted. So the third thing here that may be the next bottleneck is the amount of capital you're raising. You may have this rock star deal, you may have a great deal structure, and you may have an awesome offer, and they're gonna make great cash on cash return. But what about the amount that you need for a down payment, the investor funds that you need? It might be just unreasonably high. If you're trying to raise $500,000 or $1 million from one investor, there may not be enough investors who are ready to make that kind of capital commitment. If this is your third or fourth deal and you've done other deals with them, that might make sense that they're gonna put in $1 million, right? I have investors put more than $1 million into our projects, but we've done lots of deals together, and this is not my first go round building assisted livings. That might be hard thing to swallow if this is your first deal and you're trying to raise $1 million. So there's other ways to go about this, right? How do you get someone in a $200,000 range? I think that's super easy to raise that kind of money. $500,000, you can raise that money as well. You can even say, hey, I'm gonna get 2 people at $250. That's pretty easy to raise that kind of deal structure. But if you said, I'm looking for someone at $500 to $1 million, man, that's a little bit difficult of an ask. And it may just be, you know what? Why am I trying to raise so much money? Do I need to go back to the bank and get a different type of loan? That's why I like SBA 7As for these kind of deals, because our typical mansions, you need about $400,000 as a down payment. And if that's the case, I can pretty easily talk to people who are interested in that and have that much capital ready to go. It's sitting in an IRA, it's sitting in the stock market, it's sitting somewhere where there's not getting much opportunity, and they want to bring that into the assisted living world because this is on the upswing. There's where, the baby boomer generation's coming in for the next 20 plus years. This is the best and prime opportunity in the marketplace. So I can show you, hey, you know what? That's pretty easy. But if you said, you know what, I am going this other way, right? I'm going, say, a commercial loan, and I need, 20% down on the real estate, plus I need all of the soft costs, the interest reserves, the furniture, the working capital. That's another 400 grand on that side. So now I need $800,000 plus reserves. That's a harder pill to swallow if you're an investor and you're like, man, we haven't even done a deal together. You want me to put in $1 million? But if you went to that same investor and you said, hey, you know what? I have this SBA loan lined up, and we have all this working capital and interest reserves over here. I have all this safety net built into the loan as well. We're looking at about a $400,000 down payment from the team. That's way, way easier to swallow. And so it just may be a small tweak with your financing, with your bank. How are you setting this kind of thing up? And don't ask for a unrealistic amount of money if you've never done a deal with this investor before and this is your first assisted living kind of deal. So the next potential bottleneck is the quantity of the leads that you have. You may have all those other things dialed in and they're rock star, they're ready to go. But if you don't have enough leads, if you don't have enough potential investors to meet with, then you might be stuck right there. You can have this rock star presentation, but no one to give it to. So you gotta open your mouth, right? I talk about this all the time, starting your journey. As soon as you make this commitment, I'm gonna do assisted living, I'm gonna build a mansion, I'm going to, whatever it is, do a dinky REL if that's what you're gonna do. You start your journey that day and you are sharing it. You are posting on your social media. Every time you go to the city and you are talking to the zoning department, you're talking to the fire marshal, you are sharing that stuff. You're snapping a selfie. Every time you're looking at land, you're walking through these things and you're sharing that. You need to get people excited about what you're doing. You need to do the groundwork. Before you meet with people and start telling them what you want to do, they should have already seen what you're doing on social media so that when you bring it up, they're like, hey, you know what? I've seen you go and talk to the city and I've seen you looking at properties. What are you doing? Right? Like, I'm really interested in that. And then you give the pitch. You have the tools that are awesome. Everything's dialed in. You have this rock star kind of deal structure. And you're like, here, look it, I'm ready for a serious conversation with a potential investor to show them all this stuff. But if you are not sharing your heart and your vision, you are not posting on your social media, you are not talking to all of your people at church and at work and at the kids' baseball games and all of that kind of stuff, then you know what? You're just going to delay this by months, maybe a year. You may never get an amazing deal done because you're too scared to open your mouth. I felt that way a few years ago. I was like, I don't want to share this stuff. What if I don't do it? What if I fail? I'm going to look stupid. You will not fail if you take the action. If this is your pain point right here, get off your butt, get your phone out there, start making those posts, start doing those selfies. This is the path that you need to succeed. I don't care if it's uncomfortable for you. It's uncomfortable for me too. Just do it, right? This is what you need to do in order to be successful. The fifth potential bottleneck is the quality of your leads, the quality of potential investors that you're going to talk with. You may have lots and lots of potential investors, but they may be not good quality for several different reasons here. And I've seen people take this approach where they're going onto like these investor groups and like posting all this stuff. I see it all the time in these assisted living Facebook groups. I'm looking for private money. Who wants to invest in my deal? Bro, you're not going to raise money there. You're wasting your time. That is not action. That is misaction. You are screwing this up. Go back to the previous step. You need to talk to people in your circle, in your network, right? When you have all of these strangers that are reaching out, they're not going to invest in you, right? They're total strangers. The path of least resistance is talking to the people that you already know and like and trust. They are investing in your character first and then in your deal second. They want to know who you are, right? This is an active company. It's not like it's some passive investment. You're going to set it and forget it and you have a property manager who's going to handle it for you. No, this is an active business and they need to trust and believe in you in order to invest in you. So if you have this type of approach where you're trying to post in these different board groups and you're just trying to make connections with complete strangers and email them a business plan, I personally, in my experience, have not had a lot of success with that. I think I would take the other approach of who do I know that I can start talking to? Because personally, in my experience, it's been people that I directly know or one step removed from them, right? Like a friend of a friend, or it's been like Laura's mom's best friend, or people from church, or other things like that. They already have been following my journey. I've already been posting, I've been sharing my stuff. They've been following along. And as soon as I brought it up, or Laura brought it up, it's like, hey, I've been seeing you talk about this stuff online. Can we get coffee? I would love to hear more about that. I have money sitting in an IRA making $0. I've been looking for something. I've been looking for some opportunity like this. So quality of leads is super, super important. It doesn't matter if you have 50 strangers that are in some kind of Facebook group that are raising their hand saying, hey, tell me about your deal. That's not going to go anywhere. Those people are total strangers. They're not going to invest in you. That's honestly, it's a bunch of newbie stuff over there, right? Like seasoned investors, they're not responding to those things. I never put my hand up, I'll invest in your company. I'm not going to invest in you. I don't know who you are. Get great quality leads, people who already know and like and trust you. So the last potential bottleneck that I want to talk to you about is really you. It is your proof of experience. Are you investable? Do people want to invest with you and in you? Because you are the one running this business, right? It may be you, it may be your team. So if you're going to these presentations or you're trying to talk to people on not getting presentations, it honestly may not be the deal structure. It may not be the cash flow. It may not be the location you've chosen. It honestly may be you. So are you, and let's talk about a couple of things. Your character, right? Are you a person of integrity and character that they will literally invest hundreds of thousands of dollars in? Because if you're not that person, people know it, right? Maybe you're a stranger to them and they can kind of just feel it. You know those people, you're like, ooh, I gotta stay away from that guy. Don't be that guy, right? Like, or maybe it's a lack of experience. You're telling them you're gonna build or convert some building or build new construction and you're gonna get a licensed assisted living. If you have no real estate experience, if you have no construction experience, if you don't have an architect on the team, they may be like, well, that seems a little far-fetched. I don't know if you can really get this done. Or maybe you'll get it started and really screw it up. So maybe I don't want to invest in you. Or perhaps you're saying, hey, we're going to specialize in end-of-life care and memory care and dementia, and we're going to take care of all their medications, all this kind of stuff. And you have no idea about any of that kind of stuff, right? You have no plan to bring on a manager. You have no one on your team yet. And they may look at the medical side or the business side and be like, I don't really trust this person that they have the right experience to be able to do this. So it is either you develop your skill sets, or you add people to your team. You don't have to have all of these ducks in a row, right? I didn't. When I first got started, I have experience in real estate. I could build stuff. That's no problem. But I had no experience with medical. So on the front side, we said, hey, we are hiring this manager. And we brought this manager on early into the deal to say, hey, you know what, this person right here, they are the expert in this field. They know all the paperwork, they know all the structure, they know all the rules and regs, and they are gonna guide us, and we're gonna learn alongside them. And it may be the opposite. You may be great at that. You may be a nurse, you may have that kind of experience and have no experience with the construction or the business side. You need to bring that person onto your team. If you can show, hey, here's my experience, right? I think there's really three kind of avatars on the ideal team. You have someone who is on the medical side, you have someone who is on the business side and or the real estate, and then you have a money partner. Those three things. If you're trying to go to the money partner and they are seeing glaring holes because there's no one who's going to be able to manage the business and or the medical side of this, then it's like, well, I don't really think this is a good fit for me. But if you came to the meeting and you are a rock star at one or the other and you brought somebody else on, I'm either bringing them on as a partner or I'm hiring this person, and all we need is the third partner on the team, the money person, and we have this great plan and this great deal structure and everything's gonna be a win-win, then that's much, much easier to bring them on and have them feel confident in this kind of deal. So if you are having trouble finding investor partners, go through this, listen to it again. Where is the pain point? Where are you getting stuck? Where can you improve? Because I really think it's a sequence of events and you're probably stuck at one of these things, or maybe multiple, and you just need to focus and improve those things. It doesn't mean you're getting the deal yet. It may just allow you to get past that step, and now you're stuck on the next step, and now you'll focus on that step and continue to improve your process, your deal structure, what you do in order to get that investor.